Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, darling, had fun.
Hooked up. We got it. Severed line today. Thank you. So Succession. Pretty good show, huh? No spoilers. No spoilers. I mean, you can spoil up to are we going?
Apparently.
We're going. Okay, we're going. You can spoil up to the last episode for me.
Are we still wide? Nah. See my Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe?
Yeah, do you know what that is?
Zin?
Do you know what Zins are?
I know what Zins are.
There's a whole, Tucker Carlson, controversial, YouTube might censor me even saying the name, but he went on a podcast and they were like, and he put a Zin in, they were like, oh, you like Zins? And then he did essentially an unplanned infomercial just praising Zin, and they came up with all these like puns like Zimbabwe or Tucker Carl Zin, right?
I see what they did there.
So anyway.
Now I'm more of an Alex Jones guy as myself.
Yeah. Now we're definitely censored.
All right, bye everybody.
But yeah, no, we're not going to talk about Succession, Zane, and you know why. You have your Viore on?
I was just gonna say, you look handsome.
Thank you. It's you gotta show the shorts. Yeah,
Look
they're
at
fire.
that. Look at
They're
that.
Fire. We'll be wearing Viore in. By the way, I've always had trouble pronouncing this brand. It's Viore.
It's Viore.
That's what they spelled when they sent over like the talking points and stuff like that.
Like Gary V.
VEE -ORI.
Oh, interesting. I've always kind of been saying like Viore.
Viore. Yeah, Viore.
Viore.
We'll be wearing Viore in San Clemente. We're both leaving. You leave tomorrow.
I leave tomorrow, bright and early.
I leave Thursday. We're recording a live pod ahead of Championship Monday.
Yeah, so this is going to be epic. You guys, we will do our best. Swear jar, viewer questions. Mm-hmm. Write a question and write a who you want to answer it. We can see if we can get any of these pros to show up. We can't promise it, but say like, hey, I've got a question for Lea Jansen.
Yeah.
That's an easy one. Like she'll be on there for sure.
Yeah.
But we're going to have the pros around. We're going to have team owners around. This is a great episode to ask some very good questions in support of Stop Alzheimer's Now.
Yeah. Help us out. Support you. If you like the pod, support our causes. Not a big deal. Go donate $5. Ask a question.
Yeah, $5 minimum donation. And
stop being selfish. Yeah. I don't want our audience to be a collection of people who doesn't care about good causes.
Yeah, so if you don't care about good causes, just leave.
Yeah, just stop listening.
Yeah.
If you care about good causes, donate, ask a question, and like the episode. That's the only. We won't ask you to subscribe.
That was the selfish plug. Liking the episode. All right, Thomas, I'll let you slide for that one. But yeah, make a donation to those guys. They're an actual good cause. We're just in it for the money.
All right, I feel good today. I feel like
ignore that.
We don't. I wasn't even paying attention.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah. No, we don't have anybody on today. It's just you and me, so we can kind of shoot the shit a little bit more.
Okay, hold on.
Tally.
We got one. So Thomas, I have to say, and I'm leaning away. I settled up. I think I was responsible for at least $250 of our $300 on the swear jar.
It's not cheap.
No, it's getting expensive. I settled up to the tune of $500 this weekend because I was actually over in Colorado, and at my clinics we've been doing Chainsaw for Charity, which is really, really fun. It's benefiting SAN, and basically it's a bet. You get up there, you're part of my clinic, you get up there, you say, I'm going to bet $20 and I get to chainsaw to you.
Oh.
If you whiff it, you donate. If you touch it with your paddle, yeah, it's nothing. Okay. And if you return it in the court, I donate.
So people are doing a good job of returning them.
Well, I had to donate.
Your chainsaw.
I did 250. I don't know. It has not lost its bite. It hasn't lost its bite. I did 250 for swearing, and I did 250 for people returning the serves. But I think we raised over $1,200 of people who didn't return the serve. So it was a good weekend
for Stop Alzheimer's Now.
Yep, that's not included in our board here.
They kind of have cool branding. I like that logo. Okay. So we actually have a really good list, though.
We did some actual preparation. This is a professional podcast, except for our
and we weren't even going to do
mouths.
We weren't even going to do it. And then yesterday you were like, "Should we do it?" Like, all right,
we'll send it.
Can you guys pepper Jimmy to come on the pod? We want Jimmy.
Is he going to be? He might be over at San Clemente.
Maybe. Will he? Well, he definitely won't be able to come up on the
That's true.
On the actual show.
Not on the live pod.
Yeah.
We'll do a pre-recorded episode.
Yeah, there was a comment on their last episode that was like, Tyler's like a parent who's looking at his kid in a public place, like worried about what he's going to say. I was like, yeah, exactly.
So accurate.
Yeah. But we got to probably fly Tyler out here, or not Tyler, Jimmy out here if he's going to be on this pod. So, donate. Will that help? No, it won't.
No, it'll help Alzheimer's research, but not that.
Anyway,
but
never mind. All right, let's go to meme of the week. Do you have one? I don't even have one. I don't think.
Oh, I absolutely have one, and we needed Jamie for this because Steve Taylor made these photoshopped pictures of J.W. Johnson.
If you send them to me, we can edit them into the episode.
I just look up Dig Spat on Instagram.
Are they the tiny head one or the big head ones?
No. So he started doing those. Those are phenomenal.
Those are funny.
This is so much better, to be quite honest. They're just him in like ridiculous performer outfits.
So look up Digspat, Digspat.
Digspat. It's a digital spatula. Oh, where'd they go? He might have deleted it.
Oh, bad for the brand. He got asked to take it down.
Maybe. But they were, if you know, you know. I got to source some of these. I swear, I don't know where I saw
If you go to J-Dub and look at his tagged photos, maybe you can see him. No, I don't see anything that would be worth
All right. They're gone. They never happened.
This
I was
is the worst.
The whole thing up.
I don't have one, and your meme doesn't exist. Good meme of the week.
My meme 100% exists. I should have screenshotted them. But yeah, they're gone. I'm gonna have to talk to Steve about that.
Yeah, because you got to track those down so we don't look like morons in this segment.
Used to looking like morons, but
what did you think of Mr. Steve Kuhn? Speaking of a different Steve,
it's a wild episode. We said a lot of things.
Yeah,
we said a lot of things.
We covered a lot of ground for sure.
We did.
I think it was like an hour and a half episode.
Rally scoring. The only thing I've been thinking about more in that is, again, I'm super in favor of rally scoring, but I think we want to focus on the strong arguments. And I don't think, the more I've thought about it, the more I don't think that the ease of learning is a strong enough argument to push it over. I mean, the important element of the argument is like it reduces match variability tremendously.
Yes.
It lets you know your match is going to be somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Rather than somewhere between 20 and 2 hours.
Yeah, that is the best argument. And then also how that then lends to ease of execution when it comes to tournaments and tournament management and being able to fit X amount of matches in a day and making sure you can maximize your play, especially as an amateur entering an event. That's going to enhance your experience.
Yeah, well, and also just an amateur at the local courts when there's a paddle stack. And how many times I know that I've done this where, you know, there's and I'm not proud of it, but maybe a little bit. But when there's people like waiting, you know, you're like 16, 15, 17, 16. You just play the longest game ever.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and I guess you could still kind of do it that way, but it's not as plausible. It'd be harder
and less convincing.
Yeah. So rally scoring, I still think it's the way of the future. I think that the strongest argument is just the reduction in variability of match lengths.
Okay. You wrote down Zane and Thomas's take on the future of Major League Pickleball. Did you have something on that? What is your take on the future of Major League Pickleball?
I think that, we focused on the far future. We didn't necessarily focus on some of the detailed execution where like eventually we need to be, and I think that Steve would agree, we need to be at a spot where players are staying with teams.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So you can build the fandom, so you can have fan allegiance.
Exactly. And I think we're probably on the way there. I think just the way that the whole merger with the PPA and Vibe.
And this first year just being like a test year to determine the league layouts next year. Like that completely removes the possibility.
Yeah, but also that test year, they had to sort of think on the fly when all of a sudden...
I'm not saying it was a wrong decision. It just limits...
Well, they expanded from 12 to 18, which was an ambitious expansion. And then they had to absorb 6 more Vibe teams. If you had 24 teams, I think that the quality would have been diminished. 24 premier teams, right? If they're all in the same league.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have the number 1 guy playing with the number 48 female. Like, it wouldn't be great. I think as the game grows, like that's going to be less and less of a concern as the playing field levels out. Mm-hmm. But I think they're doing a good job. I think eventually they probably want to go to some form of home and away matches where the Frisco Pandas are playing the SoCal Hard Eights up in Frisco.
Yeah.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait for the day. This will never happen. I mean, maybe way down the road, but there's a Detroit franchise. God, I'd be the biggest fan.
There you go.
I really would. Detroit Pickleball, swag, gear.
Why don't you just buy a team?
I might just make the merch and act like there's a team.
Pretend like there's a team?
Yeah.
There you go.
Just be the biggest Detroit Pickleball fan. We should make a Detroit Pickleball t-shirt. Anybody who listens from Michigan, that'd be a cool shirt.
There you go. I feel like if you make it, people would buy it just out as a joke. Like I love the old Enron shirts. You always watch somebody with an Enron. People with the Vibe sweatshirts. Mm-hmm. I bet you 20 years from now, those Vibe sweatshirts are going to be like.
Well, if they let the trademark expire because they're not doing it anymore, in a couple years, we can just start making those.
There you go.
And then we don't have to buy them secondhand for inflated prices. Like your chainsaw NFT.
Hey, the market is set at what somebody will pay for it.
That's correct. That was one of the weird things about, when Dude Perfect, when that was announced and it was a $5 million valuation, there was an argument in the live stream comments when everyone was watching like a PPA about whether or not the true value of that team is $5 million. And missing from the person who argued against that argument was the fact that the value is what the market will pay for it. So you can talk about financial fundamentals all day long and what you believe it really is worth. But if somebody is going to pay $5 million for a franchise, then that creates the floor, or it creates the benchmark, right? And the next acquisition or the next investment can either move that up or down.
Yeah. Well, Tim Parks and I actually had a pretty interesting conversation off of the podcast. Tim Parks, we had a legendary podcast with him maybe 2 months ago. Uh-huh. But markets, I forgot who it was that said this, but markets are traditionally thought to be filled with rational actors, people who are, no?
No, yeah.
For the most part,
yes.
This market is not, right? You think that people are acting in a rational way. I don't think that MLP or pro sports team owners are doing it for rational business reasons. They're doing it for status, for saying that we have a pro sports team, for something to do, for it's cool, right? Like, so I think there's definitely like a premium placed on pro sports ownership that is it fully rational? Probably not.
No.
But it's what people are paying.
Yeah. So $5 million, that's a benchmark. And you could argue less or more. I mean, if you own a franchise right now and you're, paying to help with players' housing and, you're creating uniforms, you're losing money. Like you just are.
Yeah, 100%. Bleeding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the money that they're losing compared, like if I was losing that money, I'd be like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah,
when some of these guys are losing this money, like
it's nothing.
That's a rounding error.
It's the reason they were able to write the check in the first place, right?
In the accounting world, we'd call it immaterial.
Yeah,
PTSD right there.
Yeah, we're studying GAAP right now.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Doing financial statement analysis. So I leave here, and I have to go do a couple assignments, and then I have to go to class tonight, all around accounting and financial statements. So it's really really fun stuff.
Oof. Now that nobody's listening anymore.
But the Miami Pickleball Club I think is one of the first teams to sign like a beverage brand to sponsor them, right? Like Clean Cause, the ownership owns the team, so it's different.
We're the Frisco Pandas now.
Or that's the Clean Cause is the Frisco Pandas.
Yeah, we're the Frisco Pandas.
Yeah, right, of course.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that. But Miami Pickleball Club now has like an outside sponsor, so paying them. So
really, what is it?
It's called Poppy. It's like a prebiotic beverage.
Okay, sweet.
So these teams can start bringing in these sponsorships and slowly start to maybe return a profit, and then they become nice little businesses, and then they grow from there.
For sure. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's cool to see.
Yeah.
I know that some of the teams had been working with my guys over at ProXR to create custom paddles for them. Like BLQK has some paddles that, and then I think the Hard-Ons have some, Hard 8s have some paddles. Yeah.
Okay. Want to do a little PPA recap?
Let's send it.
What was your biggest takeaway? I'll tell you my biggest takeaway.
Okay, go ahead. Jesus.
I watched the Hurricane play, and I really sat down and watched one of her matches for the first time. She plays like a pure athlete. This is going to be the least technical analysis of all time. She just looks athletic and explosive, and she's already this good. How many months in? I could see her being top 3 by the end of the year. And I'm really bullish on her. So if we're talking about, I saw a tweet. It was like, if you could buy any player's stock right now, like if you were short or long a player's stock, I would be very long the Hurricane right now.
The Hurricane. She has just clubby hands. Mm-hmm. Like, doesn't look like she's doing a tremendous. It's not like she's taking enormous swings, but she gets a ton of power in a very, very compact motion. And the thing that I saw that I thought stood out was she's very good court awareness for somebody who's not been playing a tremendous amount. Mm-hmm. I saw one point where her and Lea were playing against Annalie and Catherine, and she's moving the ball around. They get some overheads, and she hits a drop shot. And drop shots are pretty difficult to hit in pickleball. You really need to hit them at the right time, especially when you're playing against Annalie and Catherine. And she didn't even hit a particularly good drop shot, but she got him. And just what I was thinking about that was that shot's not an executionary shot. It is a court awareness shot. She saw that they were pushed back and also on their back foot, ready to defend. She hit a mediocre drop shot, and they weren't close to getting to it. So I think she sees things through a different lens, if you will. Mm-hmm.
Her and Lea will be playing together a lot in the future. I like that team a lot.
I'm a fan.
It's very interesting.
I'm curious. I know that I think that Lea prefers the left side. I know she's played plenty on the right. I wonder if they'll mix that up at all, or if they were playing straight. I don't know.
I want to ask you a question. I think you put this down there, and actually, they were talking about it on Tyler's podcast. Has Dylan surpassed JW?
That's tough. At this point, I think that on a given match basis, JW is still probably stronger. Mm-hmm. But Dylan has more variance. See, JW is very, very good. Very, very talented. Never really misses. Hardly misses a dink. Really good speed ups. But you almost know exactly what you're going to get from him. Mm-hmm. He's going to dink cross court until he can step in and take a forehand out of the air or reach in and flick a backhand out of the air. That's basically it, right? Dylan I have no idea what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He hits these pump fake shots where he looks like he's about to speed it up. And I'm like running away back to the baseline and then he dinks it.
Right.
Like, so I think that Dylan's variability is higher. I think that Dylan at his absolute best is probably a better pickleball player than JW.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
men's and mixed?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Dylan playing his 100% best is a better player than JW.
Yeah.
However, JW is better at bringing that 90% game. He's better at playing his game more frequently.
Yeah, right.
He's going to be more consistent than Dylan. Mm-hmm. So it's a hard question. But if you want to beat a team that's better than you, you want more variability.
Yeah.
For me, I don't care if I lose 0-0 or, well, I mean, I guess I care, but like a loss is a loss to me. So I like to play with partners that have high ceiling, low floor. Like if I would like to take the chance of winning, even if it comes with the chance of getting crapped on, right? So, and I think that's the spot. Like, I think people need to shoot their shot against Ben and Colin.
Yeah, right. Especially because there's these juggernauts who are very difficult to beat. It's like, why just go out there to get bronze or silver every time? Like, what gives you that high upside that could potentially snag you a gold? And in that case, it would be Dylan. Who are you short on?
Who am I short on?
I think there's an easy and safe answer. And it's anybody who is above like 30 years old.
Who am I short on? I know Jim Kloss is short on our boy Matt Wright.
I know. What's that about? So is he just like
know.
Is he just like on Facebook? Is he and he's just like putting analysis out there?
I think so, yeah.
I've seen his name before, but like it's not like he's on Twitter or anything, right?
Jim, you got to get on Twitter if you want us to take you seriously.
Yeah, man, get in the mix.
Yeah, for real. Let's talk. Let's mix it up.
But yeah, Memes of Pickleball had something about him, and then Lea, I think, was saying something where he just has basically a vendetta against Matt Wright.
That's what it's. So like, apparently he keeps making these like long posts about the stats and basically saying like Riley needs a better partner than Matt, which I think they're very, very complementary together. And then also like I think James tweeted out, those guys have played together in 27 tournaments and medaled in all 27.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's factually accurate or not, but we're just gonna take Jimmy at his word. But still, like that's badass. Mm-hmm. Maybe Ben and Colin are just better.
Yeah,
and maybe it's not Matt's fault. Although he is fun to drop shot. I keep that one reel that you posted of the like 100-year-old guy playing pickleball.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah.
some guy just brutally drop shots him like it's nothing.
Yeah. Savage.
I popped on there. This is like my most liked comment of all time. I popped on there and I said, that's how I feel when I drop shot Matt Wright.
Oh yeah, I did.
It's got like 600 likes or something on the comment.
Yeah. That's great. Do you think, I mean, so like, let's just take like Dylan and Riley. Like, do you think they'd probably have a better shot at taking down Ben and Colin?
Yeah, it's tough because I think in that situation, the problem that Matt and Riley have against Ben and Colin is Riley isn't super comfortable attacking those guys off with his forehand. You watch him play. Hey, look at these nice courts. But basically, you watch Ben and Colin play, and they do a ton of Ben dinks a ton to the middle, Colin dinks a ton to the middle. When Matt and Riley had their string of success, Colin was dinking forehands with Matt, and Matt was just speeding up everything. He called it redlining.
Yeah.
They don't really give Matt that opportunity very much
right, so
anymore.
They took that away. They adjusted.
Also, Ben's countering a little bit harder with his new paddle. So they adjusted. They play a lot of boring shots straight to the middle. Matt's backhand, is he going to come in and flip that? Probably not.
Right.
Riley's forehand, he's not super comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm. And part of the problem is like for other players is it seems to me as if Ben and Colin are more cerebral than others. Like they're the ones who, okay, yeah, Matt and Riley got the best of us, but now we're going to go figure out exactly how to neutralize whatever advantage they had, make the adjustment, and then Matt and Riley are back at square one essentially. Mm-hmm. And the Johns will just do that to everybody.
Yeah, and they'll do it all day. They're very, very patient.
Yeah.
Like they will grind.
Right.
So I have a theory on how to beat Ben and Colin. I don't know who the hell is going to do it. But I think that the problem is you can't attack them effectively enough straight ahead, right? Let me get out of here. I don't know how I'm going to talk into this mic and also draw, but when somebody is, let's say there's a JW right here, right? When he takes the ball out of the air, he's generally taking it from about the center of the box.
This is J-Dub.
Yeah. This is J-Dub. He likes to attack out of the air. Mm-hmm. His contact point is going to be about center of the box when he gets that opportunity, which allows Colin
for our audio listeners. This is terrible audio podcasting here.
You got to watch this one. Tune in. Come watch this one on YouTube with us.
J-Dub on the left side on the kitchen, and we've got 3 lines essentially going to far the baseline, left, center, and right.
So when he's attacking from here, Colin knows that Ben has this. Ben has his side. Ben has the center side. Colin slides here. So all he has to hit is a backhand.
Right. And anything to his right, the way he's positioned, would essentially be out of bounds.
Would be out.
He can make that bet.
Yes. So what Ben and Colin did a good job of against them is sliding and winning these hands battles. Mm-hmm. Colin slides. He's covering one thing. Ben's got the rest. What I think you have to do against these guys is if Ben does pull you a little bit further out wide, we'll go to the other court here. Let me draw for a sec.
I'll try and talk you guys through this one. What is that?
This is an off the bounce.
Yeah. So you're saying they should be playing. Okay. So we've got an ATP to near baseline.
So
go ahead.
In front of Colin.
I really hope they can see this on the video too. Boy. That would be even worse.
It looks okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
In front of Colin, you need somebody who can attack a backhand off of the bounce. Mm-hmm. When the ball bounces, it has the opportunity to travel further out wide. The wider it is, the more angles you can create. Right. When it's pulled out wide, you can hit this shot over to Colin would either have to slide way more. Mm-hmm. If he does slide way more, it opens up the middle more. It opens up an aggressive cross-court dink behind Ben. Mm-hmm. And it opens up Colin's forehand. Mm-hmm. So on the left side, you need somebody who can attack off the bounce backhands.
And it seems probably be running around their backhand to hit forehands here.
Potentially. I mean, that's true. You could run over there to hit a forehand. That's riskier though, because then your partner is totally just playing singles. Mm-hmm. So you need somebody who can attack off the bounce from the backhand or forehand, and also to be able to attack from this spot here too, the center spot. Mm-hmm. So I think a combination of Riley and Dylan could be interesting, because Dylan could play almost towards the tee and be a very aggressive player. Mm-hmm. Where if they decide to dink over to Dylan, they can do the same strategy. Dylan and Riley could do the same strategy that gave them some initial success, just attack away. Mm-hmm. If they try middle, Dylan could try and come in and be offensive, and also sort of hide Riley's forehand from the middle. And if they pull it out wide, Riley has an opportunity to hit 3 different spots. Anyway, Riley and Dylan. Riley, don't mat right. Jim Kloss said so.
Yeah.
No, that's just a theory. They'll probably figure it out.
Right.
I'm sure they will. This is probably too technical for plenty of people, but
hey,
it's
this
a
is why we're the
hypothesis.
#1 podcast. Okay. We're doing,
Yeah, watch. This is gonna get edited out. Zane made no sense for 2 minutes.
See. I mean, I hope people can see what you were drawing. But that's interesting. I guess back to my other point though is that would work. Maybe theoretically, let's just say it does work. Well, Ben and Colin then figure out how to make an adjustment to counter that and neutralize it.
Yeah, they're
which is what
the
they're
king of
best at.
adjustments.
Yeah,
For sure. What are any other combos you think of that could take those guys down? That's my theory. I think a Riley Dillon team is what I want to see.
Yeah, right. That's pretty much it.
Did I nailed it?
Yeah, that's as close as we're gonna get.
You were gonna say the same thing.
Yeah. Well, they're just playing so well right now too. I don't know if like Matt Wright has fallen off a little bit this year, but it just seems like they gave him more of a hard time last year. This year, it seems like Ben and Colin aren't having issues with anybody unless they have an off day.
Yeah. Well, they're not giving either Riley or Matt any angles to attack.
Yeah.
Matt's doing the exact same thing from the other side now, right? They're not giving him. Colin is not giving Matt an out wide dink, which limits the different angles that he can attack to.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily a Matt like falling off. I think they've figured out the strategy.
Yeah. Right. Above my pay grade. That was a good breakdown, though. I feel like I learned something there.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I've been playing in Viore stuff since my first Major League Pickleball. Actually, the Discovery Warriors that aren't a team anymore got me Viore clothing, and I loved it. I had these sweatpants that just felt buttery. They were so soft. I think this is actually one of the original things that I got from them. Now they got all types of other cool stuff. Got these nice shorts that you can't see me wearing. And super comfy stuff. Actually, all the shorts that I wear when I'm playing are Viore as well. So I don't even know if they needed to pay us for this. I don't know if they did pay us for this, but I got a couple more Viore things and I'm happy. So let's go.
No, we are officially sponsored by Viore. I'm decked out in Viore stuff. I've got the joggers on right now, and a buttery soft shirt. And Viore, listen, it's not just comfortable. It's an investment in your happiness. How about that for a tagline? For our listeners, they're offering 20% off the first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at viore.com/thedink, VUORI.com/thedink. And you'll get 20% off your first purchase, and you'll enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. So that's viore.com/thedink. And discover the versatility of Viore clothing. All right, what else from the PPA? Mr. Beast jumped in the chat there for a moment. He's not one of the investors in MLP, is he? No,
not that I'm aware of.
I think he was in conversations at one point though.
I heard that rumor. Yeah.
He was just with Tom Brady. Maybe they were talking pickle.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. They were on like $1 billion yacht or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and they did like 70 or between 40 and 70 million views in the first like 24 hours of posting that, which is like the highest performing any video ever.
You mean the PicklePod? It doesn't get there?
Weirdly, we haven't hit those metrics yet.
It's because the people aren't subscribing. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yes, please subscribe.
Help us beat Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. I mean, like, I think there has to be a purpose to it. I've actually watched some interviews with Mr. Beast. I think he was on Joe Rogan. I think he was on some other podcasts, and that guy's a workaholic.
Yeah.
Like super, super passionate. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have free time.
Yeah.
He's like Elon Musk type where he's like working 18 hours, like hardly sleeping, just driven by passion, right? So I don't think he is on the YouTube chat for pleasure, just killing time,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I think I don't know what there is to it, right?
You think there's
But, like,
purpose behind him being? He was curious.
There's purpose.
He was wondering if there's something worth leaning into going on.
I think there's purpose. I would bet money that there's purpose there.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Come to Pickleball, Mr. Beast. Debut of Pickleball brackets.
I heard it was rough.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's just like the same thing.
That's what Memes of Pickleball has to say. They're my number one source of news.
Yeah.
I did not follow along on Pickleball brackets. I actually, as part of our our preparation, our thorough preparation that we do, I tried to find results for San Clemente, and I stopped trying.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't on pickleball tournaments. Past results I couldn't find on the PPA's website. Mm-hmm. I did not try pickleball brackets.
Yeah. It's just pickleball is weird. Can you think of like a tech product in pickleball that's actually good, that you like using, that you like opening? Everybody has progress to make.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's good startups, right? But like, is there a very good finished product quite yet?
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Chill, dude. Chill.
It's just a fact.
Just a fact.
All right. We picked player stocks. We talked about Riley and Matt. Can you explain this Real Clear Stats post to me?
Oh yeah. I thought this was
I'm a
interesting.
bite-sized information guy. If it's long form, I need somebody to break it down for me.
Spark Note summary, explain like I'm 5.
Yep.
Basically, since PPA is running their seedings entirely off of PPA points, it's bad. Okay.
Dude, what was that?
You know what? South Park?
Yeah, no, I definitely do.
The seedings are bad.
Somebody put up, this has nothing to do with anything, but somebody put up a clip of Tim Cook when he did the talk about their new, glasses or whatever they released. Mm-hmm. And then they played it side by side with Mr. Garrison, and they talk exactly the same. So anyway.
I can see it now.
Yeah.
I can see it now. The seeds are bad.
Yeah. Did you have other impressions?
I have a lot. I do a lot of impressions.
Yeah.
I haven't pulled too many out in the
That's pretty good.
on the podcast. Most of them are just too offensive.
Yeah.
But, let's see. So basically, since they're using only PPA points, and since they're using 18 months of PPA points, players who didn't play much PPA last year are underseeded. And he basically, Thomas's note.
Yeah, I just noticed my note too. I forgot I wrote that.
He wrote, "Explain this one to me. I'm too dumb."
I don't even remember writing that. I was moving so fast.
But so the basically,
and you're talking about when like an APP player comes over to a PPA.
Correct.
Right.
So a couple of good examples are the Brascia sisters, as well as Federico and Pablo. Mm-hmm. They're always seated pretty low. They run into a high seed all the time as a result of that, right? If they're the 7 seed, they're running into the 2 seed all the time, when maybe they should have been the 3 seed, right? But basically, like, these couple of teams haven't lost to anybody hardly lower than them, and they've been upsetting people higher than them, but they don't have the results to show. It's a very interesting post, and explaining it in 2 minutes. Explaining it in 2 minutes to a 5-year-old is tough, but it's worth a watch. And since the rating system is going over 18 months, or the ranking system is going over 18 months, the gap isn't closing because PPA players don't have points rolling off. Mm-hmm. And so everybody's gathering points at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth the read.
18 months?
18 months.
That seems pretty long, especially given pickleball and the nature of pickleball, the nature of pro pickleball.
Agreed. Well, I think the PPA was probably in a tough spot at the beginning of the year where they had the people that were loyal to them that were accruing points and they don't want to piss them off. And maybe that's at the expense of some of the people that have come over this year. There's not like a great solution to it, but like how were they supposed to do seedings?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll just make it a shorter time frame.
Yeah,
but
probably less than 18 months.
One of the interesting
18 months feels weird.
One of the interesting things about that is going back to like Dylan and J-Dub is, so it's the rankings go Ben and Colin, Matt and Riley, and then J-Dub and Dylan, right? Because J-Dub and Dylan are the three. I think that's the case, right? They always end up coming up against Ben and Colin. And because of that, they lose earlier and they can't advance out of that number 3 spot, despite that they might be arguably better than Matt and Riley.
Yeah, but I think they flip the seeds sometimes. Like, so I think that 3 and 4 are supposed to be flipped. Like it's
from
50,
like tournament
50.
to tournament.
So if you're the third ranked or the fourth ranked, you're in this. You have a 50% chance of getting the 3 seed and a 50% chance of being the 4 seed.
Mm-hmm.
You can be the third ranked team, but be the 4 seed.
Got it.
Just so that there's some variance in the draws.
Right. Okay.
5 through 8 are randomized as well.
So that's kind of the opposite of what I was saying. I think that makes sense.
I don't actually know whether they do it for 3 and 4. I know that they do it for 5 through 8, and I don't think they do anything outside of.
So maybe that's the issue, that they don't do it for 3 and 4, but.
Maybe.
I don't know. But I guess it's just because you don't. It's always Matt and Riley versus Ben and Colin. When the PPA, because people will say, oh well, they're doing. There's funny business going on with the seeding, based on like favoritism and stuff like that. But if there were that, don't you think the PPA would want Dylan and J-Dub in that final at least?
What's a more exciting final?
More frequently. I guess. Yeah,
you got 4 mutes on the court when JW and Dylan are out there.
It's less entertaining, and
I don't think even the frat boys in Texas would be able to go nuts for that match.
Yeah, which, by the way, sounds like it's going to be something that might be implemented in MLP is the ruckus. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I enjoy watching Matt and Riley play.
I don't think
more.
California frats have the same vigor to them as the Texas frats. Maybe they'll prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I think at SMU, that's a good fratty school right there.
Yeah, right.
Like what is UC San Diego going to send their top house over?
Well, there's those hype guys, which they're just apparently going to tour and just try and hype up the crowds at pickleball tournaments, which is interesting.
Caitlin Kerr does a good job of that, but she's a team owner.
Yeah, right.
I don't think she was a team owner in Columbus last year. Maybe she was, or just she does a great job of that. That is not an easy job.
What's your last note here? Equilibrium to be reached.
I think they said that this is stats stuff. It should all even out, I think, by, he said, mid 2024. So it would be another year before the whole seedings would be completely accurate under the current system. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's a super abbreviated version of this. Go check out Ben's post, Real Clear Stats. It's cool stuff. Lots of other interesting things on there too.
All right, so you got a note here. Too many tournaments, which I think has been a topic of conversation for 2 years now. Are there too many tournaments? Is there too much physical and mental wear on these players? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I just saw the NML article today. We're halfway through the season. Yeah, I mean, I think this year most of us are contracted to play at least 18 PPA tournaments as well as 6 MLP tournaments. 24, that's every other weekend. Yeah, it is. It's a mental grind more than anything, and I don't know. I think you're going to start to see. It's just tough to be there, focused every single time.
Yeah.
I think I would love to play 18 tournaments total. I think that'd be like a perfect amount. You play one month to the next month. That would be perfect. I think you'd have a better product as well. But yeah, I mean the 2 per month is rough, and then some people are just going after it. They're just playing everything. Like James and Anna are just playing everything.
Right.
They're animals.
Right. But then, they'll be selective about which ones they play singles in and which ones because doubles is obviously much less of a, but, depending on your ambitions, you might want to be just getting as many reps as possible. That might be your philosophy. So you might think the opposite. The more tournaments, the better chance I have at elevating my game and moving through the ranks quicker.
Yeah, potentially. But there's just a different level of focus in tournaments. If you can bring it every single time, that's great. But I don't know. I think you got to be careful of burnout and careful not to do too much. The tennis players that are playing the most. Like, let's think of a Djokovic, for example. Like, he's been going at it for forever.
But he's also got zillions of dollars to throw at the best recovery, the best diet,
but
the best arrangements when he travels.
Physical recovery is one thing. I think that the amount of tournaments is more of a mental thing than physical.
If you were in the Ritz every time you showed up to a destination, do you think it'd be a little easier mentally?
The first couple times, then it would just be another tournament.
Then it would.
I think what he does such a good job of is like he's spending hours meditating every day. That's his like mental recovery, right? So I don't know. I think that I'd worry about some players burning out if they aren't doing things like some form of mental recovery.
Mm-hmm. Just for comparison, I just looked up PGA. So 47 PGA Tour events every year. Not every top player plays in all of those, but just to kind of create some sort of parallel. And then there's the majors, right? Like I don't think that would include the Masters and some of the other big tournaments. So
yeah, but I wonder what their like minimum is. I wonder how many Tiger Woods played in the last year, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I bet there's if you're a card holder, you probably have minimum appearances you have to hit. It's too long for me to try and Google that right now. Where's ChatGPT when you need it?
I was gonna say, you still Google stuff? Amateur hour over here.
Actually, we pay for our employees to have ChatGPT Premium.
Oh, so up to date?
Yeah, the Dink's on the cutting edge.
Wow. Okay. Look at that. I got to get it.
We don't shy away from tech.
Okay, hold on. This is not pickleball related, just whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Is ChatGPT Premium worth it?
Yeah, I mean, you can just like send more in a confined amount of time. It just, I mean, it just depends on how, it's a usage thing. Like how often do you use it? And then there's other times where, and this doesn't happen as much anymore because there's Bard from Google and these other AI models now, but back when ChatGPT was the thing, they often had capacity issues where they'd lock out free users to prioritize premium users. So when there were lockouts and you couldn't get in, I could still use it because I was a premium paying member. I think there's a bunch of like integrations and stuff that come with being a premium member as well.
Okay. Gotcha.
But if you're just using it as like, Google on steroids and you're not using it that much, you probably don't. Premium probably doesn't matter that much.
Not worth.
In fact, now that I'm saying it out loud, we might want to revisit paying these monthlies. Things have changed.
There we go. Budget cuts over here at the Dink.
Yeah. That and careful not to swear too much.
That is true. That's true as well. Yeah, I've made that $500 donation. I don't think I've said a swear word yet.
Okay, I have something I want to bring up. And we tweeted it from the Dink account. So the tweet was, Ben Johns, Anna Lee, and select others should negotiate equity in any tour or league they compete in. Same for any brand that sponsors them. Equity should be a part of every conversation. The sport is still so young, and it's starving for stars to fuel its growth. Surprised this isn't more common. Give me like your initial reaction to that. By the way, your dad responded to that tweet.
Oh, Dennis. Dennis has been mixing it up with the pickleball forum.
Yeah.
He's been getting after it. He's gotten called out by a couple of pickleball forum favorites.
Really?
Oh yeah. He popped on there. Sidebar. He popped on there and just asked a question like, what's the pickleball etiquette? Singles versus doubles. If there's doubles team waiting, but you've got a singles court, are you just like obligated to go play doubles, or are you allowed to play your singles for an hour? Like,
I know the etiquette. If it's packed courts and you're playing singles and people are waiting, then you can finish whatever match you're playing, but anybody on the side can grab two people and come and challenge you, and you have to play doubles with who you're playing singles with. And you have to keep the court. So you have to allow for people to come and challenge the court from you.
is this like a Detroit thing?
It's just like being a generally decent person. If the courts are packed on a busy like Saturday, this actually happened on Sunday. I played. We showed up at like 7 a.m. So we didn't have any trouble getting on the court, but we were playing. We had the court, and then a line formed, and there were two courts of people playing singles. One of them was like a dad and his kid who was barefoot, and they had paddles that like they made in their garage, and then the other one was like a boyfriend and girlfriend who looked like they had never played pickleball before. And I'm kind of looking over at them like, you see this line, like you guys got to rotate these people in, right? I almost said to the guys who were waiting, I was like, two of you go challenge them and like kick them off the court. But if they keep the court, then by all means, you get to.
So you keep the court, then you get to play a singles game. Somebody else challenges you, play a singles game.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is that how it works in tennis?
I don't know. Well, there's no capacity issues.
Yeah,
in tennis.
that's very true.
Yeah.
I just think it should be most, at least tennis courts, right? There's signs up there that say like, keep your singles to an hour and a half if others are waiting. I think that's reasonable. I think you're there to play singles. You're not there to play doubles. You don't know who the hell these people are. Why do you need to mix in with them?
Basic decency.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of basic decency. No, but seriously, why is it your responsibility? You got there first. Like, you're playing singles. You like to play singles. You don't like to play doubles. Why do you need to mix in? It's not. It's basic decency. If you don't know how to play, if you're just gonna go hit up some random strangers to play and they don't want to, basic decency to just go away.
It is kind of a basketball thing, though. It's definitely a basketball thing.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Where basically, yeah, you challenge the five out there, the three or whatever, to then take the court. And you're basically, it's like you're a coward if you say no.
Oh.
It's like basketball code. Pickleball is too nice. Got to get a little more basketball-like.
All right, I like it. Yeah. Okay, I'm a fan. I like that system.
Yeah, you got to be able to challenge.
Anyway, how did we get on here?
I don't know.
We were talking about. Yes, I did. Weren't we talking about equity?
Yeah, I honestly have no idea how we got here.
You said my dad chirped on that.
Right.
Yeah.
So your dad did. But anyway, and your dad, I think, agreed. But what's your take?
My take is, how do you know that they haven't?
I think some of them have. The smart ones have. But I think a lot of them have not. Right. In my mind, this is what really brought it to my attention. 'Cause it's like, okay, so you got the PPA and MLP. Who knows what happens there, right? The tour wars are never over, right? They're never officially over, and who knows what's going to happen. If there comes a time where there's a fight for talent again, if a handful of the best players, enough top talent, get together in a room and say, hey, let's collectively go to one of these tours or leagues, because wherever this core of players goes, other players will follow, and that's enough core talent to make that debatably or arguably like the premier tour, right? So you say, okay, hey, we're gonna come, hey APP, we're gonna come to your tour, but you need to give us either percent of sales, right, ticket sales or sponsorship revenue, or equity in the league. And I think these players, and given the landscape, the competitive landscape, the nascency of the sport overall, and the desire for top talent to grow the sport, people to root for, they have leverage. And I think they should be using that leverage. And then I was thinking about, okay, let's go downstream from there. Well, literally any brand that a top player is contracted with, most of them are startups, right? Why wouldn't they ask for a piece of equity? Why wouldn't they ask for a piece of sales? And I don't know, if I were an agent, I'll be your agent, by the way, whoever wants it. I'd get in a room and I'd be like, no, we're not going with you unless we also get 5% of the company.
Yeah, I mean,
or 5% of, or X percent of, not 5 more,
a percentage of sales.
Of sales.
Yeah, sure, some form of royalties.
Right, and there's give and take, right? Like Ben's paddle, the Perseus. Ben's playing with that thing. That thing is flying off the shelves. I hope Ben is getting a pretty good chunk of that revenue.
I would be unbelievably surprised if he doesn't have a portion of Yola Pickleball, a portion of a large portion, a large royalty on that sale.
Yeah, and by the way, a lot of these startup brands, this is a way to get around having to give up that cash flow to pay them in the near term, which then becomes a sunk cost that you can't recoup. But if I give you, X percent and you're invested, I don't have to spend that cash now. I can invest it in marketing or other growth channels, or even signing another player, right? Mm-hmm. So there's advantages to both.
My guess would be, and I don't know this for a fact, I think that there are a decent amount of players with equity in leagues that have... Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so you have it on. All right, so it sounds like you're decently confident that to a degree exists.
I'm decently confident. The only way that I think you would not want to ask for equity and you would just want to ask for cash would be if you just don't believe in the company.
Right.
And then you're what you should say is, all right, well then you shouldn't partner up with them, and maybe that's accurate, mm-hmm. right? But like, let's say Whiteboard has an option, like, we'll give you 5% of the company, or we'll just pay you $100,000 to keep using this beautiful whiteboard in our thing. I'm like, well, do I believe in the fundamentals of the company? Yes or no? Yes, maybe it's a good idea. No, I'll just take the cash, because cash always comes at the expense of equity. Mm-hmm. It's a trade-off. Mm-hmm. It's a direct trade-off for sure. It's not like equity or cash, but the more cash you're going to get paid, the less they're going to give you in equity.
Yeah, there's a balance.
So I think that if you believe in a company, you're probably taking equity at this point, if you're smart. Mm-hmm. So, good question.
Thanks. All right, going back up, I think we were going to talk about something else, right? MLP, generally?
Oh, yeah, MLP.
Little preview.
Thomas, did you read the new rules?
No.
No, you didn't? Well, I did. I like to read rules, as you know.
We published them.
Didn't read them, but published them.
Yeah.
Thomas, there's a lot of things that the #1 Pickleball podcast talked about that have been implemented.
Yeah, we're agents of change. I don't know how many times I have to say it.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. I am so excited. This is the biggest thing that I'm excited about.
Okay. No more...
Well, no more. Maybe, I don't know. The call on when a ball is challenged, the call on the court is completely irrelevant. Thank God for that. So right. you go to a challenge. There is no, the call on the court stands. They're just going to say that ball was in or that ball was out based on their review. I am so happy about that. Mm-hmm. That just makes so much sense.
Yeah, but what about? Dude, are you okay? What just happened? Oh
what about God. What? Yeah. What about what?
That's going to be a good out of context clip. You losing your shit.
Well, I heard that.
I whispered it, dude. But the tech, we've had issues where you watch a replay and you're like, well, I can't even tell.
It's what you think it is based on that. There was a very, very, very close example that Brooks and the MLP team tweeted out.
Yeah, I see this one. Yeah. We should retweet that.
They have guidelines. They've trained their referees. They have apparently 120 frames per second video replay system, which is as good as it can get in terms of like knowing where the ball bounced. There's still those cases where it's so hard to tell, like the one that they tweeted out.
Yeah.
That ball is going to be called in.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Because you can't say otherwise, essentially. So you would favor in over out.
I think that the idea there is if you absolutely cannot tell, it's going to be called in rather than out.
You got to go to Twitter and look up. I mean, hey, Brooks, change your name on Twitter.
Brooksasaurus? You don't like Brooksasaurus?
Brooksy.ethereum.
You don't like the NFT? You don't like the NFT?
Because now, like,
the Bored Ape?
It's not like I can just, like, say the word and somebody can go find it. But, yeah, look up Brooks Wiley's Twitter. And we retweeted it. So you can look at the Dink account. We just retweeted it. But you should look at this clip because it's really interesting. I mean, that's as close as it gets.
For sure. So, another thing, new coin toss rule. If you win the coin toss, you can elect to choose men's doubles or women's doubles playing first. Which is interesting because
what was it before? Women's doubles first?
It was always women's doubles, always men's doubles, then mixed.
Right.
I think it's interesting because it changes momentum, adds another element of strategy. If you have a strong men's team, I'm assuming you're going to want to put them out first, if just to get momentum behind. I don't know. I don't know how that'll pan out, but I'm glad that it's a choice now, and it's not always the same exact thing. The one that I'm excited about is end changes.
Yeah.
We talked about how much of an impact end can have.
I think this can be directly attributed to this podcast.
Oh, come on. What about the other one? What about the challenge system? I've been beating the horn on that one.
But everyone knew there was an issue with that was more of a common talking point. You were the one who were kind of the originator of this end change concept.
I think I was the originator of the.
Listen, you can have credit.
More in than out.
You have credit for both. Okay.
Thank you, Thomas.
Tell
Just
Dennis.
trying to diminish me.
Yeah, tell Dennis it's both. You get credit for both.
But basically now, you start the next match where you ended up the previous match. So we start a match. We're on the north side. At 11, we switch to the south side. We finish the match on the south side. The next match, our team begins on the south side.
Game.
At 11.
I know, it's so confusing with game and match and rally scoring and MLP, but
True.
You mean game.
Sure, game. Yeah, game. Yes. So let's say men's doubles, we start on the north side, switch to the south side at 11, we lose. Then our women's match, they start out on the south side, switch sides to the north side. Yeah. So it makes it so that you're not ending in the same position every time.
This one's interesting. The paddle testing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So if it's USA Pickleball approved, it's USA Pickleball approved when it comes to surface roughness. That's it. What are you pulling out? What do you got? A gift? Oh, you're gonna, yeah. For audio only, Zane has a paddle and he has a knife and he is actively carving grooves into the paddle face.
Yeah, they're not testing for spin.
Yeah,
for surface roughness.
Yeah, that'll get you a quarter. I think that'd do better.
Ooh, that's feeling nice.
Yeah.
A quarter? You think
You're
so?
making it into like an iron, like a golf iron.
Putting some grooves on there.
Yeah,
look at that. I'll have to see
put
whether
some
that
sick
works.
Spin on that thing.
Oh yeah.
Let me see. Did that actually have any?
It's got some lines on there.
I'm just gonna.
I don't think
this actually.
I don't think it's actually gonna do anything.
I think that will.
You think so? I wasn't actually like. I think it's just visual.
I think if you get them a little bit deeper, it can make a difference.
Oh, for sure, it would 100%. We'll have to dabble with that.
Sorry, bro. I need to
What do you think
moisturize more because now you got my dead skin on your paddle. Can I have that one? Do you?
Yes, you can have it. That is the one from before.
Finally,
It's back.
The standard.
The standard.
Yeah. And by the way, confirmed, Ben does put the jigsaw grips.
Oh yeah, we did
Have
talk about
tested
that.
us.
I forgot about that.
That does happen.
I wonder how egregious you could make, since they say that they're not testing for surface roughness. I wonder how egregious you could bring your paddle. Like, oh, it says USA Pickleball approved. Just get a sticker.
Or they say something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad they're testing deflection. It's unfortunate that they told us that they're not going to test for surface roughness. You should have at least not told us that you're not going to test.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's something that can be left out, right?
Yeah. I hope that the video transferred to you when you were doing that with a knife. Otherwise, that was all for nothing. I wasn't paying attention.
I can do it again.
But
for those who didn't see, I was basically just roughing up my I was roughing up my paddle with a knife.
That'll be the call.
That I carry on me always.
No roughing.
Just in case. You know, I've talked about I'm a runner, not a fighter, but I always have a knife just in case.
Okay, so rowdiness to make a comeback. So sounds like the consensus among MLP owners and staff and all that is we might have dialed back rowdiness too much, and even especially in consideration of the positive impact of the rowdiness the Texas Open PPA. Mm-hmm. They're saying, okay, we want rowdiness back. So what does that exactly mean? I think they're still sort of trying to sort that out, but they have come to the consensus that there was an overcorrection. Why are you smirking?
Because I like Tim's email that he said, I would rather be 20% too rowdy and then rein it back than 20% less. Like, if the line is here, I'd rather be 20% past the line than 20% before the line.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. I like that. No, definitely. Yeah, you
can rein it in. It's harder to encourage people to be rowdy than it is to rein them in.
Yeah. It's the opposite of a haircut.
Damn, my mind's blown. That was good.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah. You can always cut off more hair.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right. But once you cut off too much, you can't go back.
Exactly. Right.
Yes. Nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks.
This is the second week in a row that Thomas is just trying to get me to acknowledge his haircut.
I did bring it up.
He brought it up with Steve last week. He's bringing it up again now. Guys, leave a comment. Tell Thomas how much you like his new haircut.
That was a valid point, though. I mean, it was so random that he was bringing up darts, and I happened to be literally sitting in a chair over from some guy who was at the darts thing that he was at. Anyway,
that is a.
All right, so I did Lea on It Feels Right, claiming she's going to be number one by the end of the year. She said she has a new paddle with power. She typically played with touch paddles. She got her eyesight fixed, which was apparently very bad, particularly in one of her eyes. And she's also been taking off-court training, recovery, both mental and physical, very seriously. And so obviously she's playing better. I think a lot of people are very high on her right now. My favorite part about her appearance on It Feels Right, though, was she writes down the haters' comments and uses them as fuel.
That's epic.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
That is epic. I wrote down that's some David Goggins shit right there.
It absolutely is.
So David Goggins is this like world record holder. Marine, went through.
He's a SEAL.
Went through Hell Week multiple times with like fractured legs and
runs ultra marathons with like broken foots and like bleeding. And he literally
Coca-Cola, as he says.
He's the hardest man on planet Earth. But,
just Google David Goggins. If you have no idea who we're talking about, Google him.
Yeah.
Like, he is a certified badass.
But he takes it a step further. He reads the comments into his phone, so he records them, and then he creates an audio track, and he listens to that like on a daily basis to motivate himself. But I love this from Lea. I think Lea was sort of like, she was just kind of here. Then she was all over Twitter, She was getting vocal, complaining to refs. There was a bunch of criticisms, and she got a lot of hate for a little bit. And she just kept being her, and she kept being authentic. She was going to be unapologetic if she truly believed it. And slowly, just by being consistent and being herself, I think her stock has just, not only she's playing better, but just her perception, her stock has risen, and people are big fans of her. And I'm included in that, especially when I hear something like this. I love it.
She's just going to be authentically herself. And I think she's come to the realization, plenty of people will hate her, plenty of people will love her. You can't please anybody ever. Or can't please everybody, right?
She's got that dog in her.
She's got that dog in her.
Don't bet against Lea.
And her paddle has 3 times more spin, 2 times more power, 3 times better looking.
Right.
That was an interesting comment. I like the memes from that one. So that was Lee Waters watching Anna Lee and Lee, Anna Lee and Lea play. Made the comment that her new Yola paddle had just great, way more power, way more spin.
Right.
That's an interesting mid-match comment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was I'm curious if there was a paddle challenge at any point, or why would you say that?
I don't know, but I'm gonna take an opposing view on this one too.
Okay.
If I am Lee and my daughter is competing at the highest level, and I am her mother, I am gonna be Mama Bear all day long, right? I would say way more egregious stuff than that, and I wouldn't be able to help myself. I mean,
Sure.
even I know, like, whenever I have kids, hopefully I have kids, I know I'm going to be, like, animalistic about them, especially when they're competing. I mean, even going to my little brother's lacrosse games when I was younger, like, I couldn't help but, like, yell at the opposing parents if they were saying something about it. Like,
Jamie, let's dig up some footage of Thomas yelling at opposing parents at lacrosse games.
So I don't fault the mama bear. I don't fault her when she comes into defense of her daughter. I think it's instinctive. I know some people had some problems with her saying things like that in the middle of a match when Lea's playing really well, essentially, devaluing how well she was playing. I get that, but also I know if I were in that position, I probably would have gone even harder.
Sure. Well, yeah, I guess it's interesting. I mean, they're media trained and they're good in front of the camera. I just think it's I understand, like, it's your kid out there and you do anything for your kid. I think it's, might be disappointing to diminish what somebody is doing out there, or the fact that maybe she's just playing well. Maybe she's
Sure.
done something with her technique that's has more spin or more power or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I wasn't too keen on that, but it's a fun way for Yola to flip those comments and you could even make a little marketing scheme out of it. Like,
well, the best marketing to this day has been people trying to trash pieces of equipment or, pieces of equipment being in violation. Like it ends up having the Streisand effect?
yeah, I think so. I think that's correct.
Nailed that one. I'm on it today. All right.
So the Streisand effect being, right, where the more you try to make something go away on the internet, the bigger of a deal it becomes. Because I think she had, like, pictures of her home up on the internet, and she was, like, suing everybody to try and get these internet pictures down. And now they're everywhere.
Right.
Like, now you just can't control it.
Right.
So I think there's broader application to pickleball paddles.
Should we do? We do have a lot of topics.
Well, let's see. We got Elon. Elon was chiming in on the Twitter. Said that pickleball is going to crush tennis.
Yep.
Elon's been right about a lot of things.
Yep.
I'm team Elon.
Yeah.
Actually, I tweeted at him. I said, Elon, I'm in Austin. I do lessons. Let's get on the court.
Yeah.
1 Tesi per hour.
I liked Tesi.
Yeah, you don't call it a Tesi?
No, I never knew that, and now I say Tesi. It's great. Tesi's all around.
Tesi's
Let's
for
get some Tesi's for
Tesi's
the
for the
pickleball
boys.
players. Yeah, Tesi's for the boys.
Hey, reach out to Kim. Tesla, you can reach out to Kim. We will do our podcast from inside a Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Pouch 6 here is great. Big fan of those guys over in Austin. But like, if Elon wants to hook us up with a Tesi, I will sit in the driver's seat. Thomas is in the back seat, strapped into a kid's car seat.
As long as I'm along for the ride, if I get to participate in the Tesis.
So I think Elon, he is probably just like checking with his schedule people to like figure out when we're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
He hasn't, he's busy. He hasn't responded back to me.
I mean, if he's going to come on
yet.
any pickleball podcast,
obviously.
this one. Roddick's response?
Yeah, what did he say? He said, "It'll never crush tennis. It's so much fun to play, but it's not even comparable to a viewer. Ping pong is also really fun. Would rather be kicked in the nuts than watch it on TV." Always politically correct, Andy. Mm-hmm. That's pretty funny. I do think it's a valid take. Like, I think that, and we've talked about it on previous episodes. Viewership is going to be the number one hurdle, I think, for people in this sport. I think we need to come up with some creative solutions to reduce dinking. Nobody wants to watch dinking.
That's why there should be a shot clock. There should be a shot clock.
Or a deeper kitchen.
Yeah.
Or a wider net.
I just like to say shot clock because then everyone comments about shot clocks and the video does better.
Shot clock.
Yeah. Shot clocks. The future of pickleball.
This is true. Honestly, we could make an entire podcast about rally scoring, paddles,
right,
shot clock.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good pod.
Well, what do you think about my my Mama Bear comments? I want to hear your takes on that. So comment on YouTube and let us know if you agree with my take on that one. I have a feeling a lot of people won't.
Go for it. Send it. All right. What else do we have here? I think should we run the
questions?
Should we run the questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We've raised $300 from the swear jar. We've raised $330 from viewer questions. TK Stolman made a nice donation without a question. Thank you, TK. Jenna said, "Should you typically try to slice a serve return to put backspin on it? I see many of the pros doing this." And I have thoughts on this. I would say, Jenna, you saw many pros doing this. And if you're watching very closely, that trend is dying. So with new paddle technology, with the surface of all of these paddles being rougher, imagine you're tossing a basketball against a wall. If you toss it with topspin towards the wall, it's going to hit the wall and kick upwards. If you toss it with backspin towards the wall, it's going to hit the wall and go downwards. The same exact effect is occurring with your pickleball paddle. If you give me a heavy slice and I hit heavy topspin with it, it gives me more topspin. So the advantage of the slice is it can stay low on the ground. The disadvantage of the slice is it can allow your opponents to hit a whole lot more movement. If you watch pro singles, there's very little slicing going on with the returns anymore. It's almost all flat returns. And the same is trending in doubles. So if you're playing professional pickleball, don't slice. Anywhere else, I think the merits of the slice still hold up because the people are not hitting the same amount of heavy topspin, nor are they always adjusting to the slice that's given to them. So at the highest levels, slice can present a opportunity for your opponent. At every other level, it's just another way of deceiving them, I suppose.
Would you say that if you are going to be hitting a slice, it's important to keep it low? Because if you're hitting sort of like a more lofty one, now you're also that higher bounce is going to pretty much put it on a tee, and you're lending to your opponent's topspin.
Yeah, I would say so. The
Giving them two
advantage of the
advantages.
slice and the main reason to hit a slice is so that it hits the ground and bounces low.
Yeah.
And sort of slides through the court.
Right.
So if you're lofting a slice, you're in trouble.
I've heard instructors say, though, that hitting a slice return, if you kind of hit it up high, it gives you more time to get into the net in doubles.
Certainly, it's a trade-off, though, right? A slice a lofted return can give you more time. I don't think it's a difference. If you're going to loft your return, I don't think it makes a difference slice or topspin. I guess a topspin comes down a little bit quicker, but there's a trade-off there.
I'll read this one because it's from Nicholas Tan, and it's to you. Thank you for using your platform to advocate for this cause. My grandfather, this is Nicholas Tan, my grandfather suffered from Alzheimer's for the last 15 years of his life. It is a devastating disease, and I hope that someday we will have a cure. I don't have a question for you. Just wanted to say how much I appreciate you for always being your authentic self. I still remember sitting near you at the MLP draft when you were roasting everyone and everything in sight. It was
That sounds
hilariously
about right.
unexpected and one of my favorite memories as a pickleball fan. I love your well-meaning shit talking. Come on.
Oh, nice.
Nick.
This is great. Thank you, Nick.
And hope you never change. Also, you better have said shit out loud.
Hey.
Add it to the tally, Thomas.
This is great.
That was well played.
These questioners could really mess with us if they wanted to.
Yeah. And they did. So can you guys donate? We'll put the link in the description this time. We realized we didn't do that last episode and the one before that, which is total miss on our
did we
end.
not? It's what is it? It's stopalzheimersnow.org. Stopalzheimersnow.org.
How do they get to our page though to do the?
How do they get to your? Oh, it's just under donate, and you leave a comment. You just say on there. There's like a little message that you can leave when you make a donation. Yeah. So, for those of you guys who don't know, Sean, the guy who started Stop Alzheimer's Now, I met him in Austin. He's an Austin-based guy, and I had been looking for a Alzheimer's dementia-based nonprofit to work with because my grandmother actually passed away from Alzheimer's, and a lot of the national foundations. I did my auditor thing and I looked at them on Charity Navigator and I looked at their financials, and most of them were not donating a tremendous amount of their receipts to actual research. And a lot of them, they're also donating to, making the lives of Alzheimer's families better, which is great. I think that's good that you're making the lives better. I want to find a cure. Sean wants to find a cure. SAN funds Temple's Alzheimer's cure research. So that's where 96% of gross receipts that they take in go to. I looked at his financials, guys. I audited that. 96%, everything other than their filing expenses goes directly to research, which is unheard of. So, Alzheimer's is a crappy disease because, he and I were together last week, and he put it in a way that I never heard before. Like, everyone thinks that the person who is suffering from Alzheimer's, they have their memories taken from them, of course, but also the people around them have their memories taken. I remember my grandma from those last couple of years where she deteriorated into a completely different person.
Yep.
And it really takes the family's memories away as well. So I don't know. That's why we got involved. That's why we want support for SAN. It's an awesome cause, and all of that money, 96% of it is going to fund cure research.
Yep. So. My grandmother's going through it right now. It's kind of new to us over the past year and a half to 2 years, I would say. So yeah, it's a great cause, and if those 2 testimonials don't get you to donate as a listener, what are you doing?
Well, I can't think of a of a better way to end the show.
On a positive note. But no, we'll be in San Clemente. We'll do a live pod Monday night. This should come out before then. So yeah, it'll be live streamed like leading up to the championship match, which will be really cool.
Great opportunity. Tell us which pro you want. We'll try and get them. Ask questions for them.
Yeah.
Support Alzheimer's research. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, cool. All right, PicklePod.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun.